Well, the proof, of course, is, does it work, gentlemen? But I don't mind if it's Ali or David. I've got a question for either one of you can take. I mean, or both of you take. How has you going through the Young People Index, that process, sort of helped you make choices about the future?
Yeah, so I feel like going through the Young People Index was quite useful for me as it allowed me to see sort of strengths about myself that I hadn't seen in myself before. I feel like, of course, we can all self-reflect and look about what's good inside us, but having someone tell you, oh, these are your strengths was quite useful for me. And I found out that I was more of a strategist type of person. So I then was able to use that information to decide what to do in the future. So, for example, I now know that an area like banking and finance would be good for me. So, whether I decide to go to university or maybe an apprenticeship to get to banking, I know that now that I would fit well in that sector and I would be able to add value to wherever I'm working.
Yeah, brilliant. And how about for you, Ali? Would you?
Yeah.
Are you a similar or have you a different experience? You haven't got to be nice and grief by the way. Just tell us as it is.
No, yeah, I had a very positive experience with the GC index. In fact, the day Lola came to the school, I was going through some sort of emotions because my grades were not as good as I expected them to be. I wasn't really motivated. I was pretty much just doing as what my parents told me. There was a lot of boundaries on me. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know who I was going to be. Doing a young people index showed me my qualities and my strengths and how I could use them to then go on to do something later on in my life. And I'm happy that they did come to the school and they did sponsor us because it led me to go into pursue a lot of things outside of school, like work experience, looking at apprenticeships, looking at universities. And yeah, the Young People Index helped me a lot.
Yeah, and look, we just want to hear from you, right? Okay, let's be honest. So, because this is great for us, for you guys to this has such a lovely effect, and Natalie calls it superpowers. You've obviously, you'll have your own words for that. But do you use the insights day to day, not just in career selection? Do you use it in other sort of those insights you've gained just in the day to day and other ways? Have you got examples of that?
Yeah, so for me personally, after I had done the index, I sort of changed my mindset in the sense that now that I knew where my strengths were, I could focus in on that and I wasn't just trying to be the best at everything. And I feel like switching my mindset sort of changed the way that I sort of see things. So I feel like that was really sort of a good thing for me to do, knowing that I have my strengths now and it's somewhere I can focus and not sort of want to be everything at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, this is wonderful for us to hear. And how about yourself, Ali? Did it help you in the day to day? You obviously mentioned a lovely story, that starting point where it helped you realise some things. But about the day to day, has it helped you?
Yeah, it's helped me in my day-to-day life. One of the main interpretations of being a game changer is that I want to thrive, not just survive. So I already displayed some of those qualities in other sectors other than school, and knowing that I have the ability to do that and knowing that it's actually a thing, I then brought it into my schoolwork. It gave me a bit of extra motivation. So every day I go into school, I ask myself these questions as well, like, am I happy with what I want to do? Is there anything that I want to change? Is everything going well? Before doing the Young People Index, it was more just get up, go to school, come back home, and yeah. But now doing the Young People Index, it helped me ask myself questions, gave me a sense of self-actualization.
I love that. That's before the young people. It was just get up, go to school. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. I'm going to pause. I've got some more questions, but this is wonderful stories, right? Hopefully, it's bringing a lot of it to life for you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Keith, Lola, yeah, Karen, Helen. That's what it's all about, right? Yeah? Okay. Do you have any questions for anyone on our panel at all before I move into some more questions?
When you'd all gone through that process, did you find yourselves having conversations with each other as well? That were easier, more sort of easier to associate with each other and develop each other's personalities and proclivities?
Yeah, so me personally, I feel like the way that the Young People Index is set out is really useful because as we were going through the session, we were sort of given the time to talk to each other and say to each other, oh, I'm a game changer, what about you? And I feel like that was really good. It sort of allowed us to engage in conversations we hadn't really had before. Like I said before, we can all sort of like self-reflect, but having someone tell you things about yourself that you hadn't seen before was really useful, and it definitely engaged conversations between me and my peers.
And yes, as the same with David, it gave us like a better connection because as David is an implementer and also a strategist, it gave us a better connection because we knew that we can learn things from each other and that it's better to work as a group than it is just to work as ourselves and force ourselves to be some of the stuff that we're not, because as humans we just have to know that we have our limits. Although we don't want to stick to those limits, we have those limits, and sometimes we do want to we have to ask for help. So he gave us a good sense of connection.
So, David Ali, you stole the show, guys. Smashed it. Seriously, seriously. You said in very simple words more than we can say in a whole bloody conference. So, can you come back next year? Now, just to find out, any advice, opinions, anything you would give to some old people stuck in a room pretending to be calling a club?
Yeah.
What would you do?
So for me personally, I feel like going around and just talking to everyone here so far, I've learned that a lot of people are already using the Young People Index and GC Index in their own companies. And I feel like that's really sort of something that should be looked at, more people should be looking at to do, because the way that all the information is set out, you now know that in your companies, oh, I might need a strategist to come in and work with the rest of the team. So I feel like the way that the Young People Index and the GC Index is working is something where more people should be putting that into their companies.
Yeah. Brilliant. Well done. Well done. Well done. Ali, I don't want to put you on the spot if you've got nothing else to say.
No, that's
Go
right.
on, go for it.
Yeah, I just say, I mean, you're all very successful people, but some days just look to yourself and think, what ways could I be different? What ways could I change? Because obviously change starts with you asking yourself questions. Because even my parents, I say the same thing to them. You can, like, what you do is good, what you do is great, but there's always ways to connect, especially with younger children as well. Generations are changing. They are a bit different to how you are. And another thing as well, my older brother used to say this to me a lot. You don't win, you don't learn from success, you only learn from failure. So as you all are successful people, sometimes you need to look back to yourself and ask yourself a question like, what can I do better?